meaning of most of the words, so we can go very fast. Should not be difficult.
Last class also even very fast. Last class also even very fast.
Because I have always given time. Whenever you don't understand, you have to ask. You should be like Thomas. You should not pretend to know everything, believe everything. I don't enjoy going fast if students don't understand. I want to take 1 hour for one word to make you understand. You have a question? Yes, please ask me. Yes.
When you are explaining the canon 45.
Yes.
But you had to.
45 was 2 classes ago, I think. No? Yes. 45. Yes.
You said the word of that forma commissaria necessary and forma commissaria
Voluntaria. Yeah.
It's two.
Once again, you want some explanation. Okay. With regard to the form of singular administrative acts, I was telling you that forma graciosa is the favorable form. Forma graciosa. That means what is the favorable form? When there is no need of any intermediary, competent authority straight away approaches the beneficiary or the person to whom it is issued. That is forma graciosa, the favorable form. The other form is through a commissary, intermediary, through an executor, that is called forma commissoria. Commissoria. Forma commissoria. There is need of an executor. Sometimes the executor does not have any freedom except to execute it. At other times, the executor is delegated the power even to make the decision. When the executor doesn't have any power, if merely to execute, then he is called necessary executor. Forma commissoria necessaria. The other is libera, free. What we also call voluntaria. Necessary executor and free executor. Free executor. I took as much time because we have everything also recorded. Once again, it will be played to you. All this I explained slowly. I did not rush through. I am only repeating with my own patience. That's all. Necessary. How do we find out that an executor does not have freedom or has freedom? From the wording itself, wording of the administrative act itself, or the administrative act is issued to him with certain words. You are hereby asked to do like this. It's necessary executor. You may decide whether to grant it or not. Means then it is free executor. Depending on the maturity of the executor, the competent authority makes him necessary executor or free executor. Free executor. And depending on the case, depending on the circumstance, it is for the competent authority to decide how much freedom he wants to give to the executor. So formally it was mentioned only of rescripts. Forma graciosa rescripts, forma commissoria rescripts. Now we study for every administrative act in general. Because the old code did not speak about these very elaborately as the new code. Any other doubt? Okay, we have to take up rescript today. I have already explained rescript. Once again, I am only repeating. I am tired of repeating some of the things. I said, what is decree? What is rescript? So when you study, there is no need of again what I already told 2 times or 3 times. No need of dwelling too long on that, the rescript. So we said administrative acts, singular administrative acts are broadly divided into singular decrees and precepts and rescripts. Singular administrative acts are broadly divided into singular decrees and also precepts and then rescripts. So once again I need not tell what is a singular administrative act. Because rescript is a singular administrative act. All that we said about singular administrative act is applicable to rescripts. So we have to say it is an act of executive power normally. It is given to an individual in accordance with the law, within the limits of his competence. Everything is applicable because it is a singular administrative act. We have seen the differences between singular decrees and the rescripts. Singular decrees normally motu proprio, that means at the initiative of the higher authority. This is normally in response to a petition at the initiative of the petitioner. Normally. Once again, we repeat. When we repeat so many times and you don't answer properly, it will be testing the patience of the professors. Hundreds of times. I have now electronic evidence also to show you. See how many times I have told you like this. So you have to study very seriously. So, with regard to the content, here provision or decision. Provision or decision. Here we already know, as the chapters say, privilege, dispensation and any other favor or any other favor. Content. Rescript. Please take care, I use the word as a general rule. Normally, mostly, there can be exceptions. Sometimes privileges can be given unasked for. Sometimes even without your asking dispensation, it can be given. Sometimes you ask for the dispensation, the competent authority uses the clause motu proprio. Means, you have asked for it all right, irrespective of your making a petition I am giving. Irrespective of the reasons advanced in the petition I am giving. That means the validity of the rescript will not depend on the reasons advanced in the petition. Because when the competent authority uses the word motu proprio. Sometimes you may keep silent, competent authority gives a rescript. Other times you ask, competent authority gives a rescript but adds the clause also motu proprio. If the competent authority does not add the clause motu proprio, then the validity of the rescript will depend on the reasons cited in the petition. Reasons cited in the petition. Now we take the canon 59. If you don't understand any word, you should ask me. A rescript before that, I forgot to tell you the meaning of the very word rescript itself. Rescribere means reply in writing. Rescribere, the competent authority replies in writing. It presupposes a petition. There was a petition, that's why competent authority writes, scribere writes a reply in writing. Okay. Now look at paragraph 1. A rescript is an administrative act. So we finished with the executive power by Canon 30 already. Ecclesiastical laws, customs also have the force of law because legislator's consent is there. Then general legislative decrees. Afterwards, everything is administrative acts only. General decrees, general instructions, and singular administrative acts. Everything. So, a rescript is an administrative act. Issued in writing. It is given in writing. By a competent executive authority. Competent executive authority. So, it is indirectly mentioned within the limits of his or her competence. Already in the very first canon, within the limits of the competence was given in canon 35. Executive authority, by which now the canon speaks about the content. Of its very nature, a privilege, dispensation, or other favor is granted. The content of a rescript is mentioned very clearly. Then finally, at someone's request, that means somebody had made a petition. At someone's request. At someone's request. That is Canon 59, paragraph 1. So, no word should be alien to you. If you don't understand any word, you ask me now only. You not interpret the canons by this time. A rescript is an administrative act issued in writing by a competent executive authority, by which of its very nature a privilege, dispensation, or other favor is granted at someone's request. Okay, we go to paragraph 2. Unless it is established otherwise, provisions laid down concerning rescripts apply also to the granting of permission and to the granting of favors by word of mouth. So we said only about 3 things. The law extends the content or principles to permission and even oral favors by word of mouth. The canon says granting of favors by word of mouth. Favor is already mentioned, even orally. The general principles are applicable. You have to ask permission. It is applicable. Not only privilege, dispensation and other favors, even permissions and oral favors are also included, or we can apply the principles that are given under this chapter even to permission. Okay. Then we can speak about Canon 60. Who can attain a rescript? Who can attain a rescript or the beneficiary of the rescript? So we need to compare this Canon 60 with Canon 36 of the Old Code. 36 of the Old Code. The Old Code excluded by law itself some persons from receiving favors and dispensations. Favors and dispensations. They were considered disqualified to obtain these favors. Who are these people? Those who are excommunicated in accordance with the old norm 2265 para 2. 2265 para 2. And those who are interdicted, that is a kind of minor excommunication, according to Canon 2275. And the suspended clerics. Suspended clerics. Old Code 2283. So these people cannot get some favors or dispensations. That was the teaching of the Old Code. The New Code is more broad and open. It says, those who are not expressly prohibited can obtain rescript. Expressly prohibited. Anybody can get a rescript. Sometimes even non-Catholics and non-baptized also can obtain a rescript. The new Canon 1331 para 2, 1331 para 2 only prohibits the use of privileges already granted, and one is excommunicated. 1331 para 2, number 3, only prohibits the use of the privilege already granted. So now anybody can ask for a rescript. Anybody can ask for a rescript. Suppose there is a disparity of cult marriage. What is a disparity of cult marriage? One is Catholic, the other is
non-Catholic.
non-baptized. Non-baptized. So Catholic and non-baptized. This is called a disparity of cult marriage. Mixed marriage.
Catholic.
Catholic.
Christian.
Baptized non-Catholic. Sometimes they use both together for mixed marriage. But as canonists, we have to make the distinction. What is disparity of cult? What is mixed marriage? Mixed marriage is a sacrament. But disparity of cult is not a sacrament. Why?
Because of the
Even
baptism.
though it is blessed in the church, it is not a sacrament.
Because the one party is not baptized.
Yeah. For only a valid marriage between two baptized is a sacrament. Valid marriage between two baptized is a sacrament. When one party is. Suppose they married and then they did not live together. They did not consummate the marriage in the case of disparity of cult. Can they ask for dispensation? Or only Catholics can ask for dispensation? We normally, for Catholics, we say ratified and non-consummated marriage. Ratified marriage is to baptize. It is sacrament. It is a sacrament. But if they did not consummate through sexual relationship, then they can ask from the Holy Father dispensation. The Holy Father can dissolve the marriage. Only sacramental unconsummated marriages, no power on earth can dissolve. But sacramental marriages, if it is not consummated, can be dissolved by the Holy Father. So in this case, even if one party is Catholic, another party is not baptized, the marriage breaks before they slept together. In that case also they can apply for the dispensation. Here in this case, even the unbaptized party can approach the Holy Father. Even if the Catholic party is unwilling. Unwilling. That's why I said anybody can ask for a rescript. Not I say, Canon 60 says, if you are not prohibited, you can always ask for a favor. Ask for a rescript. Yes, rightly. Ask for a rescript. Diocesan tribunal can approach for nullity, but not for dissolving the vows. If there is a ground of nullity, then they can approach. They can approach, but not for dispensation from the not consummated marriage. Non-consummated marriage. Okay, shall we go to the next canon? In other words, in Canon 60, I said the old code was more strict. The new code leaves it open. If you are expressly prohibited, you cannot ask. Otherwise, you can always ask for a rescript. Okay, come to Canon 61. So always there is an exceptive clause in many canons. Unless it is established otherwise, a rescript can be obtained for another even without that person's consent. You can ask for a rescript not only for yourself, you can also ask for another. A rescript can be obtained even for another person. The validity of the rescript in itself does not depend on the consent. The validity of the rescript in itself does not depend on the consent of the beneficiary. But on the will of the competent authority. But on the will of the competent authority. Therefore, you can always ask, even for others, a rescript. One example is, sometimes without their knowledge also, Canon 1164. 1164. The radical summation of a marriage. Sanasio in radice. Radical summation of an invalid marriage. An invalid marriage can be made all right sometimes even without the knowledge of the parties, provided the consent is remaining. Both the parties have consent. You may, in extraordinary and special circumstances, get a dispensation from the impediment or from the canonical form. Canonical form. Normal way is to make the parties renew that consent. Call them even privately with 2 witnesses. Ask them to renew that consent. Extraordinary way is the radical sanation, sanasio in radice, healing from the root. You will study about it elaborately. Here, a dispensation is obtained sometimes even without the knowledge of the parties. Why it is, you will study next year when you study the marriage. As I already said, with regard to this, even if one party is unwilling, also you can get the rescript in ratified and non-consummated marriages. They did not consummate the marriage. One party does not want to proceed with the living together. Another party wants, but this party doesn't want. Still, this unwilling party can ask the Holy Father for the dispensation. So
What
that's
is
why.
the difference between asking the Holy Father for dispensation and going to the tribunal for rallying?
Yeah. See, I said marriage is invalid on 3 grounds. I have already told you also. Once again I repeat. Consent is needed. It must be free from impediments. There are 12 that are mentioned. 1095 to 1083 to 1094. 12 impediments. All these you should have studied in BTS. And lastly, canonical form. If any of these is missing, then we approach the tribunal for declaring the marriage null. Nullity of the marriage. To declare the marriage null. That means there was no marriage at all. There was no marriage at all. Even though they live together and have children, when one of these is missing and is proved, then the marriage is invalid. Invalid. On the other hand, the Holy Father can dissolve for just reason, or sometimes even for grave reasons, can dissolve a valid marriage. Holy Father can dissolve a valid marriage. For invalid marriages, you don't need to go to the Holy Father. Dissolve a valid marriage. One thing is, if it is not sacramental, the Holy Father can dissolve. If it is not sacramental. Marriage of 2 non-baptized, or 1 baptized, 1 non-baptized. Because both cases it is not the sacrament. Sacrament. Another thing, sacramental but not consummated. Not consummated. In this case also, the Holy Father can dissolve.